Hello, and thank you so much for choosing Hope TV. This is where your look can live. And of course, this is Testify, where our faith in Jesus Christ keeps growing. My name is Sharon Naitore Wangenye, and it's such a great joy to have you join us today for another moment of inspiration, a moment of faith stirring, a moment that will leave you not the same person you were before you began watching this program. Once again, karibu sana. And with us today is Angela with an amazing story, things she's been through, things she's done, but ultimately we are here to proclaim of the victory that is in Christ Jesus. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yes, it's a pleasure to
and
be
agreeing
here.
to share your story.
Yes.
You know, many people shy to share their stories, especially if they have been through a past that doesn't look so good.
Yes.
They shy off, and that doesn't really help much. But when
Yes.
you come out to share your story on a day like today, I'm sure there's someone who could be going through the same thing, and they don't know how to get out,
Yeah.
and they're here to hear what you went through and how you came out.
Yes.
So karibu sana.
Thank you for having
Please
me.
introduce yourself.
My name is Angela MUMBI. I was born and raised in Thika Town, that is in Kiambu County, by both my parents, and I have an elder brother. I'm the second and last child in our small family.
Yeah, only two kids.
Yes, only two.
Okay, beautiful family
Yes,
though.
yes.
So how was it growing up?
Growing up, my parents really worked hard to provide for my brother and I, to make sure we get our education. So education was a priority in our household.
Yeah.
My dad was a very strict man, so there was no other option but school. They really provided for us together with my mom, who took care of us. They did their best to provide for my brother and I. They used to take us to church on Sundays. But we had a large extended family. So during holidays and some weekends, we meet up with the cousins and the uncles and aunts. So during those functions, there was a lot of alcohol. So you can maybe, when you meet up, there has to be alcohol in every family gathering. So we always grew up with that party mode in our family, knowing that, to have fun, there has to be alcohol.
Yeah. So your parents taking you to church didn't mean they were born again. It was just a religious practice.
Yes,
like,
it was.
it's Sunday, let's
it's
go to
Sunday.
church.
We have to go to church and not every Sunday, but you go to church, you sing, you show up for mass, and then you go home. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So you grew up in this family where partying
Yes.
was a thing.
Yes, partying was a thing. So we always knew that, that was my perception. When you want to have fun, you go partying. So, and during those parties, they leave some drinks and you're curious, you want to taste.
As
so
a small girl.
you taste kidogo, and then, you're like, hey, it's bitter kidogo, but you feel there's that excitement. So I was always curious, wanting to try, but they never gave us. The rule was when you get to 18, you can drink, you're free. When you're an adult, you can start drinking then. Yes, but before then, school was a priority. Yes, so when I got to Form 1, during that period for class, when you do your KCP, so that you transition there was a lot of parties in the estates. So my age mates and I, we used to meet up. Maybe if your parents are not at home, you go to your friend's house and then you buy alcohol and then you drink together. So we started experimenting through those house parties, because by then you could get the access to alcohol wasn't that hard. You could just send someone. You raise the money together and then you send someone to buy a drink for you. You drink together with your friends and then you go home. So your parents have because they're at work the whole day. They have no idea what you've been doing the whole day. So there was an incident. I went for a party. And I remember I was just drinking and dancing with my friends. But then the next thing I remember waking up, I was in hospital. And then when I woke up, my dad and my mom were there and they were so shocked and disappointed. So later my mom told me that she found me blacked out on the side of the road.
On the side of the road?
Yes, in our estate. When I was in
14,
Form 1, yes.
13 maybe?
Yes,
Wow.
13, 14, during the holidays now. So at that time, they were very concerned that I would drop out of school if I continued with that habit. So they just told me to watch out for the company that I keep. And when I become an adult, I was free to to party the way I want, to just focus on my education. But that incident never, it wasn't a lesson for me. It became something that I could brag about. There was a time I really drank. I got so drunk and blacked out. You seem like you're the cool kid then because you drank so much. So that incident, it never made me shy away from alcohol or, regret whatever. I never regretted my actions, actually. So I still continued during these parties. I was slowly introduced to also marijuana. So we used to smoke and drink and go home. But then on the side of school, when I used to go to school, so there was no access to alcohol. So, alcohol
You were in a boarding school?
Yes, in a boarding school, in an all-girls school. So, alcohol gives you a false sense of confidence. So whenever I was sober, I used to be very shy. But when I was drunk, it used to give me so much confidence. I can talk before people. I can make jokes. And I used to feel accepted. I felt accepted by my peer groups. So when I went to school, I became intimidated because I happened to go to a national school. So I was intimidated.
So you were actually performing well, even with
Yes, I was. But when I went to high school, I became intimidated by these other girls because, a national school has people from different backgrounds, all personalities.
Right.
And I was from a small school where I was used to being number one, number two. In my first exam in Form 1, I was amongst the last. So that really scarred my self-esteem. And then that this confident ladies who are outgoing, and my personality was laid back, so that really put me in. I limited myself, so I liked the drinking because it made me feel like I was someone. And I always went for the wrong kind of friends, the ones who don't give you the right kind of advice. That's why I felt I was accepted. So in high school, I still continued drinking during the holidays. When you go for holiday tuition with your friends, where the little money you're given by your parents for lunch, that's what we used to changa to buy the alcohol now and the marijuana. So that was the habit now. But when I go to school, I'm not performing. My performance started going down. So I was always amongst the last. So I ended up not performing up to my potential. Yes, but I managed to score a B plane. But then, in a national school, that is like, so I was still, when I got my KCSE results, I was happy, yes, but I was like, I could have done better. But already I had undermined myself and told myself, that's the best I can do. You see, I felt like I didn't belong there. So I went to a private university, and I was very excited to be 18 now, to face the world, because I was like, this is now. My parents told me,
that were forbidden.
Now I can move out of my parents' home. I can start living life and be an adult and drink and party as much as I wanted to. So when I got to campus, unfortunately, even I didn't pick a course that I was passionate about.
What did you want to do?
I love things to do with cooking. I'm more of a creative person, but I did BCom.
Wow.
And then I majored in accounting, and I wasn't good even in math.
Those are two worlds apart.
Yes, very different. I was just picking things that, first of all, so that I can move out of my parents' house very quick, and anything, whatever, so that people can see, she's gone to campus. But I never put any thought into my future. And I thought now that being in university is a chance for me to drink and party, because I thought that was freedom and I thought that was adulthood. So unfortunately, with my low self-esteem, the first guy who approached me and told me that he wanted to marry me in campus, I really believed him. And
he said he wanted to marry you?
Yes, and I have low self-esteem. I was 19. And I was living in my own kawal, thinking, hey, I'll go to campus, meet the first guy, we'll fall in love, and we'll get married. I didn't know there's more to that. So he was more into drinking than I was. So he actually taught me that, we don't have to go to class. It's not like high school where they take a register.
Wow.
So we used to miss classes, because it's campus. No one.
So you agreed to the relationship?
Yes, I agreed to the relationship.
Because he would marry you?
Yes, because he would marry me. I believed myself. And I felt that if this guy who's interested in me loves me, then no one else can love me, because I didn't love myself. I didn't have that I didn't have knowledge about myself. So
how much older was he?
He was 3 years older than me.
So he was probably in second, third year?
He had actually, and this was a red flag, but then he had repeated classes. So by the time I was in first year, he was also repeating because he had failed the classes before, so he couldn't proceed to the next class. So we started dating. He was a heavier drinker, so he introduced me to cheap liquor, introduced me to this beer called Keg. Keg is very affordable, and this spirits that they're very cheap. And also he introduced me to chewing of mirror. So
chewing?
Yes. Yes. So all these things I'm doing so that I can be able to please him.
Right.
I don't want him to leave me, because I feel like if he leaves me, I'll be no one.
Yeah.
And I didn't love myself, so I felt like if he doesn't love me, who will love me then? So unfortunately, this relationship was very toxic. If he gets drunk, he would beat me. He wasn't faithful. He used to have other girlfriends on the side, But then,
and is this something you knew when you were in the relationship?
Yes, I knew. I used to find you find messages, and then sometimes he doesn't answer your phone calls, so you're like, hey, what's up? But he'd still come, sweet talk me, he'd say he's sorry, but then I'd always, I thought he truly loved me. I didn't know what love was, So whatever he gave me, I thought that was love.
Right.
So I got pregnant. Within like the first 3 months of dating, I realized I was pregnant. And when I told him, he told me, you're ruining my life. Yes, those were his exact words.
Ruining his, not your life, his life.
His life. He told me I was ruining his life, and he didn't want anything to do with me. So I was very scared of my parents, because I was like, I can't go back to tell them that I'm just in first year. I am pregnant now, and I am bringing a child with me. And, we used to be told in high school, when people go to campus, they get pregnant. So I never wanted to be another statistic, of those, she's one of those girls who went to campus and got pregnant.
Right.
I didn't want. So I got advice from my friends, like, hey, what do I do? Like, a quick and easy solution is to get an abortion. So my friend told me to look for 2,000 shillings, and she would direct me to a place where I would be able to get the abortion. So that's what I did exactly, because I felt this man is not supporting me. I cannot tell my parents. So I felt at that moment that was the best solution for me. So going through that procedure was a very painful process. That it was painful physically and emotionally, because I remember throughout the whole process I was crying, because immediately when the procedure started, I started to throw up. And the pain physically, even though it was very, very painful, and the person who was doing the procedure was a man, so already I was feeling very uncomfortable, uneasy, and he was an older guy. So after that process, I was given antibiotics and some painkillers, and I was told not to drink for a week. So I went home. So with that guilt and the pain, I didn't have anyone to share with of that experience, because so the only thing that I could run to at that to comfort me was alcohol. So I started drinking more and more. So because this guy was also in my class, eventually we still used to meet, and unfortunately he came back and he apologized, and I still went back to that same relationship.
Oh.
Yes, because at that point, you see, I'm still suffering from low self-esteem.
Yeah.
I don't know what love is. I'm broken, and I think he's the only one. You remember he told me he'd marry me, and I've never heard those words before. So I'm like, this is the one to marry me. So I have to stick with him.
Oh.
So, but the relationship only got worse, got more violent. We even started drinking more than we used to before.
It was physically violent,
Yes.
the relationship. He would beat you up.
Yes. Especially, when you get drunk. When you get drunk, there's a lot of drama.
Yeah.
You start arguing, and then, gives you a slap, pushes you, kicks you, chokes you, such things. But then because you don't have a concept, self-concept, you don't know yourself, you don't know your worth. Whatever he gives you is what you take, know. So I still stayed in that relationship. And unfortunately, I got pregnant again the second time. And this time I was like, I don't want to go back to the same abortion place because that I don't want to experience that same pain again. But then I was in a dilemma. How will I go tell my parents that I'm pregnant?
This was how long after
this was a year later. So a year later, I'm proceeding to my third year now, finishing the second year. So I'm like, I haven't finished campus. There's no way I'm going to take to my parents a baby now. And the guy himself, he was also from a broken home, so, and the mom, I was very scared of the mother. So I there was no way I could take the baby to the mom's side. So I decided the only thing I knew was to go get rid of the pregnancy. So I unfortunately went back to the same place that I swore I would never go back to. And this time I really hated myself for doing it, and it was more painful because it took me like about 3 months to decide that, okay, I'm not keeping, because I was in a dilemma. I really actually wanted to keep it, but I didn't know. I was scared. I was really scared. So I just went back to the same place, and now it was more painful because the pregnancy was a bit so it was a very painful procedure, and I actually thought I was going to die because I had never felt such pain. Unlike the other one, yes, it was painful, but not like this one. So I went, and this guy is the one who took me for that procedure now. But then
this time he didn't
run away. He was ready, but you could see there's just that hesitation. It was like, whatever you decide, I will support you. But still, our relationship was very skewed. So unfortunately, after that incident, we didn't continue dating for long because now I got to a point I decided now that I can't do this anymore. It's become too much, especially the fact that he was very unfaithful. So that is what pushed me outside. It gave me the courage to walk away. So with the pain of the abortion, and now on the side of school, like I was really failing. There's a semester I failed all my 7 units. And not because I had sat for the exam. I failed because I never even used to. There's a whole semester I never went to a single class.
And this time your parents are paying school fees in a private university.
Yes.
And they're totally clueless about what's going on.
They are clueless because now, until now the results come out. You'll always lie, I'm in class. I'm not coming home in the weekends because I'm busy. I have assignments. But I was just busy drinking. My parents think I'm busy in school, but I'm busy drinking. It was until now, after the semester, my mom asked me for the results, and I had nothing to show. So she went to the school herself, and she was told, "We've not seen your daughter here for a whole semester." So that's when she took
So this time that you were not going to school or to class, what were you doing?
Drinking.
Day in, day out?
Yes.
Go drink?
Yes.
Hangover in the morning?
Yes.
The cycle continues?
Drink, even, and like the way as a lady you look forward to buying like new dresses. I never used to do that because I'd rather spend that money on alcohol rather than on a dress, because that dress is not helping me with anything. But your mind now, you start being controlled by this substance. There's nothing that you think about day in, day out, and then you have to buy the cigarettes, you have to buy the
you
mirror.
Even smoked cigarettes?
Yes, because now
chewed mirror,
marijuana, everything. You want to be able to afford this lifestyle. So all my money, all the pocket money that I used to get, it used to go to alcohol. Even food, you don't eat as much as you're supposed to. So you end up losing a lot of weight. So all this time, I'm not going to class because I am drinking and partying. Like I thought that was the life now. Drinking and partying. But then it got to a point. Every day, I started realizing like I'm not happy anymore. I don't have any joy in me. I don't have anything to show for all this time I've been in school. I'm constantly failing. I'm doing a course that I don't like, so I have no motivation to go to school. I have no motivation to go to school. My results they're extremely bad. If I get an internship, because like my parents used to try and help me get internships, sometimes I never used to go because of the drinking. I never used to show up. So people used to have a bad perception of me, like she looks like a very innocent girl, but she's not reliable. You cannot count on her. So I became like a person you don't want to. My CV was not good. And on the other side, my parents don't understand what's going on with me because I've become a totally different person. I don't
Did they try to talk to you?
Yes, they tried to talk to me. They tried to take me for counseling, but I go for one session and then I don't show up again. And then I thought, like, why don't my parents just let me live my life? I felt like they don't understand me, but they didn't know there were other issues behind the drinking, And it got to a point now they can't tell you to stop drinking,
Right.
They can't.
They can't.
They can't. You're an adult. And it's a culture now in our family, you can drink, but they were wondering like, why is she drinking more than it's supposed to be? I couldn't handle it.
It had become an addiction.
Yes, my friends, my age mates, they had already finished school, graduated, because I got to a point I missed 3 graduations. The first one I was like, I'll do it next year, but then I end up not going for classes. The second one I missed, third one I missed. So I was like, I don't want to do this school anymore and I thought this school, I don't belong here. I can't do this anymore. So I hated myself. I'm seeing my age mates, they're getting jobs, they've graduated, they're getting their own houses, they're becoming independent, but I felt like I was stuck. So I started to really hate myself and to hate my life. Like I never used to think that I had a future. So every time when I used to wake up, I just wanted to die. Like I would wake up and be like God, why don't you just take me? Like I don't have a purpose on this earth,
Yeah.
So to mask
you just
that
mentioned
pain,
something. Sorry, you just mentioned God, and I'm wondering all this while, did you ever have a conversation with him, or at least try to talk to him?
In this world, your perception of God is what you get around you, know.
Right.
So I treated God like, like a magician. Like, why can't you you have to give me what I want?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not God. Like, what's your point of being there? Like, I had no relationship, and I thought that I could live my life the way I wanted to, continue drinking.
Yeah, and bring him in.
And partying. And, when you're in that world, you're exposed to so much. So that time also I was very interested about the Rastafarian culture because of this guy, or because of the marijuana smoking. You're exposed to so much. So I was confused when it came to God. But then you remember, like we used to go to church.
Yeah.
So when I used to go for mass, I thought that was enough. Like that's all God needed from me. Like I used to say I was a good Christian. I'm a good Christian, so God can listen to me. But I used to get that I felt like my prayers were not being answered. So I never used to call out to him or, seek him, and my perception of being born again was like, I can never be, those saved people that I used to see, I can never be one of them.
What kind of people are they?
Because, the perception I used to have of people who are saved was that they're very boring.
Yeah.
Because, you see, I was used to the party, and I'm like someone who doesn't party.
What do they do?
What do they do? Yeah. That's so boring. I can't date a guy who's not drinking. Like someone who's saved, it was out of the question. Okay. So for me, God I knew he was there, but I didn't even know him. Let's just say I didn't know him. Yeah. So all this time, when I wake up, I'm very sad. I have no motivation to do anything. I just want to die. So to mask that pain every day, I used to drink and drink. to hide the pain that I was feeling, because I was feeling a lot of very low self-esteem. I used to wonder what was wrong with me. All these people we used to drink with, they've finished
finished
school,
school, yeah.
they've graduated, they have their houses, some of them are getting married, you know, they're getting kids, but I'm stuck in this position. So I thought there was something wrong with me, and I really hated myself. On the other side, I felt like I was such a disappointment to my family, because my parents really worked hard, very, very hard, so that I can be able to get the best, you know. So I felt like I had let them down very bad. And also I felt that I didn't have any worth, you know, I didn't have any purpose to continue living. So I started contemplating suicide. And I used to think of ways, less painful ways, that I could die. So one day when we were drinking with a couple of friends of mine, I decided that was my last day. I didn't want to wake up tomorrow. I want to be dead, and this is it. I don't care about what anyone says. I just want to die. And when I started just breaking down completely, because I had nothing to show. Because from the time I was 18, I went to do a 4-year course in campus, and it took me 8 years. So at this point, I'm like, all this time, I have nothing to show for all these 8 years that I was since I turned 18. I felt like I wasn't living anymore. So I thought the best thing was to drink, go home, and get a bunch of pills and die. But then I was like, I don't want to commit suicide in my parents' home. That would be very heartbreaking, because I've done all these things to hurt them. I don't want to hurt them anymore. I don't want them to find me dead in their own house. So I thought, oh, maybe I could go somewhere on Thika Road, jump off a bridge. But then I was like, that is too dramatic and too painful.
Yeah.
So I remembered I had seen someone's testimony of how they had been through addiction, and they had gone to a program called Teen Challenge. So I decided in that...
Where had you seen that?
I'd seen on a TV show. And then I'd seen like a year back, you know, it's something that you do, just one of those things
As
you
you
cross
flip.
by. Yeah. And they're like, oh, yeah. And then you see, oh, you start following this person on social media, and like, oh, she's doing good, okay. But, you know, you don't put much thought into it. So I remembered she went to a place called Teen Challenge. So I decided, let me Google this place, and then I asked them if I can, you know, do a self-check-in, because at that moment I felt like I was going crazy. I was going mad. I couldn't stop crying, and there was it's like everything had just burst, and all the pain that I was harboring, just everything fell apart. So I called them, they gave me the direction, and I decided to go. But with this time, I was going with the intention of, I wanted this feeling to end. I didn't go there with the intention to stop drinking. I'd never even thought at this point that drinking was a problem. All these years, when I look at my life at that time, I never thought that the alcohol was the problem, or the smoking, or the partying was the problem. So I just wanted to stop feeling that hopelessness to end for that moment. And then I stayed there for maybe a month, and then now I can be able to go back to school and graduate. So when I got there around 9:30 p.m. and they received me well.
Were you sober?
I wasn't sober. I was actually staggering. I don't remember well how I got there, but I just remember I was focused on the place I was going to, because I was very drunk at that moment, because I'd been drinking the whole day. And then in a spur of a moment, I was like, okay, I want to go to town so that I can go to Kiambu and go to this place. So it was a long journey to get there, but I got there eventually. And I didn't even have enough money. I remember I had 200 bob. So I was like, if this way I'm done. And I'd stayed for a week. I hadn't gone home. My parents were really searching for me. So when I got there, they called my mom. And then my mom was very confused, because she didn't understand. So she kept on asking, who has brought her there? How did she get there? Can I come right now? So they told her to come the next morning. And when my mom got there in the morning, she was like, what is, she was speechless. She couldn't understand how I'd gotten to that position.
All right,
but
just hold it right there. Let's take a very quick break. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Thank you so much for staying with us. If you just joined us, karibu sana. All right, so Angela, we left it at you've taken yourself to a rehab center.
Yes. Yeah.
And your mom has come and she's wondering, what is wrong with my daughter?
She's wondering, she couldn't understand because all this time they never knew I had so much pain in me. So she asked me if that was the place I wanted to be. And I told her I really need some time because it's either I die or I stay in this place. And if you take me away from this place, I'm going to die because honestly, I don't feel like I want to continue living. So she was very confused at that moment. She kept on asking me, who brought you here? Who brought you here? And I told her, I brought myself. No one brought me here. So she agreed. She asked me, how long do you want to stay? I said, I want to stay for a month. She was like, no, if you want to get the help that you're saying, you have to stay for at least 3 months. Though the program is a 1-year program. Yeah. But in my head, I knew there's no way I'm going to stay in this place for 1 year. In a rehab, at the back of my head, I never thought I had a drinking problem. Yeah. I just felt like emotionally I was done. Mm-hmm. Mentally I was done. But the drinking, I thought I'd stay there, stop drinking for like a month and then go back and drink, kidogo. Yeah. So I told her, she agreed. They let me stay there. So through, Teen Challenge is it's a faith-based program. Mm-hmm. So normally we have a chapel every day, a service every day. So every day, it's my first experience of a Pentecostal setting where there's praise and worship and then people are singing and they're praying. So the first time I just used to sit down and I never used to understand why these people are praying. Why all this noise? And like, you see, my perception of God was like, it's like I never even believed he existed. Yeah. But then after, I think a week, there's a lady who came to preach and she just said, God doesn't condemn us. Jesus doesn't condemn us for all the things that we did. And that message stuck with me because I felt like I was being condemned. I didn't know who was condemning me, but I felt like I deserved all the punishment on this earth. So that message, when she did the altar call, I decided I wanted to get saved. I was like, let me try. If they're saying this person won't condemn me, let me try him. Let me see, because I want all the pain to end. I want to be free. I felt I wanted something different. So I decided to get saved. And I said the prayer, and I remembered I really cried as I was saying the prayer because it was just like a turning point for me. And when I got saved, slowly I started even enjoying the program because they offer a curriculum where you're able to, discover yourself, discover God. You're able to learn that there's freedom in Christ, because many people they don't know that Christ he's the answer. He's truly the answer. So having that relationship with him, I was able to realize, this drinking, it's not helping me, and it has really messed me up. So making that realization, that was like 4 months into the program, I decided I'm not going to drink again. I don't want to ever touch a drink. If this is what it has done to my life, I don't want to get to that point anymore. So slowly I started reading the Bible. I started knowing that God has forgiven me. The hardest part was being able to forgive myself. Every time you're told God loves you, God has forgiven you, but you're so hard on yourself. You're normally so hard because like I could have done it differently. So I learned it took a long time for me to be able to forgive myself, to accept myself, and by the grace of God and through reading His Word, I was able to know that I was created for a purpose, and as long as I was alive, God was still not done with me. So being able to ride on His promises, on His Word every day, I started to love myself more. I was able to forgive myself. I was able to ask for forgiveness from my family who had hurt very bad, and they were able to forgive me, and I was able to discover my purpose in Christ, and to just know that my relationship with Him was everything. And he made me a new creation. It didn't matter whatever I had done and whatever timelines the world had set for me. As long as I had come to him, everything was new. I was given a second chance. So I decided to go through the 1-year program, and I was able to finish
That meant
it.
putting school on hold.
Yes. And actually it was a good thing because that was during the COVID year. I went and got an academic leave because if I didn't do that, I was on the verge of being discontinued. Because they're like,
you've been on this for so long.
You've been on this for so long. We're not seeing any progress. We have no option but to continue you. So I was advised to take an academic leave. So I took the leave so that after the program I could go back to now school, so that I don't miss that 1 year, which was crucial for me. So after I finished the program, I was able to go back to school, and this time being sober, even though it was hard, I now had self-confidence. I knew that I could do this, because every time I used to go to class, I was like, this is hard, I can't do this, But now I started getting confidence. I started encouraging myself, and I was able to finish my classes and to finish my degree. Now I'm awaiting graduation in October. So it wasn't easy, but I managed.
It's a good thing you said it wasn't easy, because when people begin the journey of living that kind of life, a life of addiction and drugs and all, I've heard of stories of people who even take off from the rehab center, like maybe the withdrawal symptoms and stuff. How was it for you?
Okay, the first few months, the first few days are the hardest, because definitely addiction has the physical aspect where your body is so used to it, so it demands it. So that's where the withdrawals come in. But day by day, your resilience is what keeps you going, because the more you're able to stay sober, the more your body starts getting used to. So with time, you start teaching your body, your brain new habits. That's why, like in the program, you're introduced to reading, to listening to music, to doing work, so that you form new habits to get rid of the old ones. So that's, some people just think like, when you go to rehab, you just stay there, you watch TV. There's no way, because your brain is like, it's dormant. You're not teaching your brain anything. So definitely you'll stick to your old habits. That's why you find people, they're going back because there's nothing new you're teaching yourself. But there I was able to learn, because we have like a work program where you have to work, you have duties, we cook for ourselves, we do duties for ourselves, we don't watch TV apart from the weekends, so all this, you have all this time, you're there all 24/7. So you read, there are books, you get time to discover about yourself, you play games, just things to keep your brain active and going. So that's how you're able to, by teaching yourself new habits. Like even the Bible says you renew your mind. So that comes by doing something different, and you repeat and repeat and repeat until it becomes now a habit that you're used to doing.
Okay, so how did your parents react to you wanting to stay over for the whole year?
At first, they didn't understand why a whole year, because most rehabs, they do maximum 3 months or 6 months, and even the 3 months on top normally is like outpatient. So I really had the staff there, they normally do family therapy, so they were able to be told the importance of the 1 year, and also the decision that I made. They were like, since it's your choice and no one is forcing you to be there, we will support you. So for them, it was actually, at first they were confused, but they realized with time it's a good thing that she's here, because now we know where she is. Because normally I never used to pick up my parents' calls, because you see the calling and you're maybe drinking and you know they're just gonna give you a lecture, so you're like, I'm not ready for this. So let me just, I used to switch off my phone. Just like I go missing. Now maybe when I want money, that's when I reappear.
Yeah.
So yeah, they realized that it was a good thing me being there, and they slowly started to see the change in me. And now the old Angela that they knew was starting to come back. They were starting to get their daughter. So they were very happy about it. Yeah.
And how did the healing of you from the substance abuse and the forgiving of yourself affect your relationship with your family?
At first, I didn't even tell them exactly what had happened. I never told.
They didn't know. They just knew that you just feel like your emotions need some healing.
Yeah, they knew. They thought maybe I was a bit depressed because of school.
Yeah,
but they didn't know the whole story. So later, when I finished the program, that's when I started to open up and tell them. Like my mom, I never told her about the abortions until she had it recently when I was sharing it somewhere. And
what did that do to her?
She was shocked, but she called me and she encouraged me. She said, it's good that you've been able to speak about it because it means you're healing now. So they're very supportive, my parents, up to now, very, very supportive. Yeah, so, and through that change, I was able to learn that this change that I've gotten is not just for myself.
Right.
And I got an opportunity to work with an organization called Reclaim a Street Foundation, which deals with rehabilitation of, drug addicts, prostitutes, and, people who are in gangs. So it's a program, it's a 1-year program where we help the ladies, especially the ones who have been through prostitution, because normally we see someone in the short dress drinking and we're so ready to judge this person, but you don't know that the trauma that this person has been through, there's so much to more than we see. So we offer a platform for them to come and share their grievances and their problems, and the ones who have they need the extra help to wean off the addiction, we have a halfway home for them. So we take them in and we help them to go through to overcome the challenges that they're facing. Yes.
This Jesus and church thing that you thought was boring and for watu wa shamba, how has it impacted having Jesus at the center of your life? How has it impacted you as a person?
It's the best decision that I ever made, because I came to realize unless I know my Creator, then my life becomes purposeless. That's why I felt like I didn't have value. That's why I felt like I didn't have a purpose. But being able to know that God created me and He's my Creator, He created me for a purpose. So always having that relationship with Him and knowing Him as a Father, and that He's created me for something bigger than I ever imagined, it keeps me going. Even, sometimes we think that life is going to be hallelujah, praise God all the time. Even in my low moments, that keeps me going. I know that as long as I have Him by my side, I'm okay. I don't need anything else. So it's very fun, actually, compared to the other side that I was.
I actually wanted to ask you, is it boring?
It's very fun, actually. It's fun. I find now that even the music that I listen to, it's better than the one that I used to. Reading the Bible I get to learn, and it's very relevant. Kitambo used to think that the Bible is outdated and it doesn't relate to our life problems now. But once you get to read the Bible, you see that every challenge you're facing in life now, it's addressed in the Bible. So it's very relevant and it's very fun and the best decision ever.
Right.
Yeah.
Your friends and your boyfriend, former boyfriend, and, people that you lived that kind of life with, did you let go? Did you forgive? Did you how is your relationship with them? If I would ask, do you see them anymore?
Okay, the first thing I had to do, definitely I forgave the people who had hurt me in the past. Yes, I did. And I had to cut off everyone in my past because already we didn't have the same goals. You know, sometimes when people stop drinking, they think, I can go to the club and drink soda as they drink the beers. I'll be
Does it
cool.
work?
It doesn't work. The first round, you'll be
It
the
doesn't
soda.
work, yo.
You'll be drinking the soda, and then the second time, you'll be like, one shot, okay.
Yeah.
So I had to change the people that I called friends and the places that I visited, the environment, because already you guys don't have the same goals.
Right.
You don't have the same objectives. Their goals are different than yours. Their priorities are different. Even the perception. Not everyone will understand your journey. And it was painful. I had to change my number, actually. I had to change everything because I became very committed to my change and to my sobriety and to this new life that had been given for free.
Yeah.
So I wanted to protect it at all costs. I don't take it lightly. So whatever would make me lose this new life that I had to cut it out.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that you said commitment. You are committed to, the change. Because sometimes people start off, but then they fall off.
Yes.
Yeah. So you mean that if one will change,
yes,
then they have to purpose.
Yes, you have to purpose and to be very focused on your change. You'll get new friends. And you don't need a million friends.
Right.
You don't need all those friends. Just a few friends. And if you think that. I'll just advise anyone who's trying to change to avoid going back, because your friends will be like, they're like, you can't stay sober for long. We know you. We know how you used to drink. You know you love booze. They'll not even encourage you to go forward. So you have to make that decision and you have to be committed. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy at all, because especially like one challenge I faced was now going back to the church. Like, how would these church people take me? People in the church don't like to talk about their past. They don't like to say, hey, me, I used to drink. Me, I've had abortions. No one likes talking about that. But I thank God I was able to get a church where they really understand. They welcome addicts. We have programs in our church where we have a program for prostitutes, we have a program for addicts, for street kids. So you're encouraged, talk about your past, because that testimony is what is going to save the other person who was in a position like you. So I thank God that KG, New Beginnings, Mirama Drive, it offered a home for me where I felt like no one judged me and they encouraged me to be who I am, not to go and pretend like I know the whole Bible or I know all the worship songs. They just encourage you to grow. It's a process. People think it's like magic. It will happen like that, but it's a process day by day, and it's by you deciding, okay, today I did this. So you continue growing slowly by slowly. Encourage yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. Because, and even family members is another thing. You need to learn how to, don't be too harsh on this person. When someone is from rehab, don't expect them to get a job immediately. Don't expect them to get their life in order immediately. Okay, you stop drinking, so take this person slowly, encourage them. Don't be the person that puts them down. Always encourage them, welcome them to church, and don't. There are people who tell you, don't tell people you used to drink. Don't be like that. Encourage that person to share their testimony, because it's also a way of healing. Not, don't be scared of your past. Embrace it, because you need, no one is perfect and we all have a past.
Okay. You said you're graduating in October?
Sorry?
You're graduating this October?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
After how many years? 8?
8 years.
The whole 8 years.
Yes. Yeah.
God is good, and we're happy for you.
Thank you.
Just as we wind up, there's a young lady, just like you are, a young man who probably just joined campus or has been in campus for a while. And they are in that phase that you were in, and they don't know what to do with their lives anymore. Even as we speak, probably someone is contemplating suicide like you were contemplating suicide a while back. What would you tell that person? Look into that camera and talk to them.
I would tell that person who is in a hopeless situation that there's no situation that is too hopeless. As long as you're living, you still have a purpose, and don't be shy or afraid to ask for help. Because no one is perfect. You can come forward, ask for help, reach out to someone who is in a position to help you, because there's no situation that doesn't have a solution, or it doesn't matter what you've done in your past. Like I would tell you that message that also saved me: God does not condemn us, Jesus does not condemn us. So do not give up, and do not be afraid to say no to whatever seems popular at the moment. It's okay to stand your will, and it's okay to be who you are. You do not have to conform. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
too.
Angela, for coming.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing your story. And we pray that through whatever you went through, God will do great things. The Bible says everything happens with a reason and a purpose. Yeah. That the experiences you went through of, pain and shame and heartbreak are not just going to end at that. Out of them are going to, it's going to come amazing things.
Yes.
That through your story, lives will be changed. When people hear that you went through this and that, they would desire the change that you have also gone through.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And may God bless you so much.
Thank you for having me too.
Most welcome.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. What an amazing story. A story of redemption, a story of hope, a story of, encouragement, just to know that God has us, and it doesn't matter what you have done, He can turn over your life. All you need to do is surrender to Him, commit to Him, totally give yourself to Him, and He will definitely change your life. I pray that you have been encouraged and your faith stirred up, and that your life will never ever be the same again. If you know someone who is going through the same and would love some help, please feel free to reach out to us. We can connect them with the program that Angela and Pastor Kabochi and other people are doing out there, and their lives will be definitely changed. My name is Sharon Naitore Wangenya. I've had myself a great time, and I'll see you next time. Please get in touch with us through the number appearing on your screen and through our social media platforms. Bye-bye, and God bless you.